Hey everyone, it's Rob Stanley with the Ecom Wiz podcast. And today my special guest is Kristin Ostrander, owner of Mommy Income. Hi, Kristin, how are you?
I am fabulous. How are you?
I'm doing great. So I'd love to have you on the show because today we're going to talk about something that quite a few people don't talk about. And it's a whole different area of kind of the Amazon and e-commerce business. And that's how to bundle your Amazon FBA products to grow. Now, why don't you define for us bundling in the way you see it?
Awesome. So I consider product bundles highly complementary items that you put together to save the customer, to create speed, convenience, and variety for your customers. So bundling like-minded things together. Think of like shampoo and conditioner, or gift sets that maybe people will put together for a specific theme or use. It just helps the customer buy things that they're pretty much already going to buy anyway that are highly complementary, all in one click.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a great way to expand on your inventory line and come up with more information. That's okay. And so, yeah, one of the things like we used to do when I was selling on Amazon is that we would turn around and offer it in different quantities. I know that's not necessarily bundling, but it's a way to expand your inventory line, because there's times that people might say we were selling a candle set or just a candle. Maybe they want a candle set with different sizes, or maybe they need two or three. They want one in each room. So that's kind of one way to bundle. And then definitely what you're talking about is kind of the before, and correct me if I'm wrong, but kind of before it gets to Amazon, it's already been bundled to sell, right?
Yes. So instead of multi-packs, which you might have a variation listing of the same exact product, but then you can buy a 2-pack, a 4-pack, or there's some other variations in sizes and things that is more of like a multi-pack, to where a bundle is actually putting different products together before you send it to Amazon. So it's its own ASIN altogether, instead of having separate things that go together, or you're just buying multiple quantities. You're actually, your entire ASIN, your entire listing is all the bundle put together. So my favorite way to use this is just like maybe a chocolate lover's gift set. And in that, it's a little box and it's got 4 or 5 different types of maybe dark chocolate that, you're putting all together so that someone could gift that to someone else, or they could buy it all in one click and it all kind of goes together. It's used together. It's makes a lot of sense when it comes to bundling that. So those are a little bit of the differentiations between multi-packs and variation type listings, and then having something that's its own entity altogether.
Yeah. So if somebody is dealing with a factory, let's say over in China, and they're sourcing a product from there, a lot of times the factories usually just kind of build one item. So what kind of obstacles do I run into when I'm trying to create bundles prior to get them over to Amazon when a factory, let's say, only deals with one specific product? How have you handled problems like that?
So what we do is we use a prep facility. So instead of having everything shipped from manufacturer straight to Amazon, we have it shipped to a prep facility for a small fee. They take the deliveries, they put all the bundles together into either your own custom packaging, which is your own form of private label, because we have our own bundle brand. And so we have, I joke about it being Kristin's favorite things. So Kristin's favorite things is my brand, my bundle brand. And I have 3 or 4 different items coming from different manufacturers to the prep facility. I ship them my custom packaging. So my gift sets all go in a specific box. And so all the manufacturers send the stuff to them, they bundle it all together, and then they go ahead and ship the single units or the bundled units to Amazon for you. You could also do this at your own house, your own warehouse, or multiple prep centers and prep facilities out there can do it for you, so you can be hands off. So in the traditional sense of importing or having manufacturers send stuff directly to your Amazon FBA store, you have to kind of reroute that. The good news is that this is what sets you apart from the competition, yet you don't have to, and this is why we like wholesale bundling the most, which I know we're going to talk about in a minute, but the idea there is you're not reinventing the wheel. You're not reinventing a brand new product from scratch necessarily, although you can do that with bundling, but you're actually using products that already exist, that already kind of naturally go together, and ordering them from wholesale distributors and then putting them together in a bundle that's all your own.
Yeah. And have you had people that I mean, we're going to talk about your course and everything also a little bit later, but some of the people you've dealt with, have they been able to maybe find facilities in China to do some of the bundling and then send it from there straight to FBA?
I haven't had anyone do that just yet because of, like you said, some of the issues in logistics. It depends on the type of company. I know that
Sure.
there are several people that sell similar products from the same manufacturer. And if that's a thing, then usually the Chinese manufacturers or wherever you're importing, a lot of times will work with you to maybe include that as part of your custom bundle package. But generally speaking, they would probably have to be the same factory, the same manufacturing company, and a lot of them do make different things within the same product niche. So if you're, if you're in, say shampoo and conditioner or health and beauty or something like that, the chances of them actually making multiple different products in the same factory is very high. So if you're considering making a bundle and that's part of the logistics that you want worked out, even from overseas and importing, the easiest way to do that is find a company and create bundles on stuff that they already have, and then ask them to obviously put those products in the same packaging, and then you have your single bundle item. So that could definitely be a possibility if you're using the same facility. If you're not, then you have to have another step of logistics to try to figure out overseas whether they're going to bundle there or you're going to have them bundle here.
Yeah. And then we were just talking about, kind of before we started the podcast, that Amazon has started this sort of virtual bundling. And have you kind of like experimented with it yet? And B, do you feel that the virtual bundling might be a good thing, or still sticking with the way you're talking about it, doing it yourself and sending it to FBA already pre-done will work better?
Okay, so yes, I have. I tried it out. I tried out the virtual bundling for just a minute, and the process that's really hard to use with bots. Amazon uses bots for everything, right? It's all algorithm based and things like that. The reality is, though, is that you can't replace that human intuition with all the different bots. So what happens is Amazon's virtual bundling is they're saying, hey, join this virtual bundle and you can sell all these things individually, but Amazon will show the customer that you can basically buy all these three things together. What they don't tell the customer is that they still arrive individual with individual boxes and individual things. So think about if you're sending, say a granddaughter a gift set, she's having a baby and you're going to send her a gift set, and you buy, some blankets and some bibs and things, and you think, oh, this is all going to be put into one box and shipped into Amazon. That's not how they do it. They basically send all the individual items together to the customer. So they're opening 2 or 3 different things, to where when you're bundling an actual gift set from your end, you're putting it all together in one product, in one presentation, in one box, and then that customer, if they're getting a gift or something else, it's all coming together on the same day, at the same time, in the same packaging, to where the virtual bundles is basically helping people add extra things to the cart, but it's not an actual bundle in the sense that it's going to come together. It's not even the same brand or the same package or anything like that. So it's basically kind of suggesting, Amazon's virtual bundling is like suggesting that people add 2 or 3 different things to the cart at the same time, but they can be your products, but they don't always come from the same facility or same place. So it really doesn't create that customer experience that the customer is looking for when they're buying something like a gift set.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me more, like you were just saying, like when I'm shopping on Amazon, I see the suggested or like also bought, and so they're just grabbing those and not even throwing them together in a box and just shipping them to you. And it's like, that's not that great. Whereas I like your approach that you're saying, where is if I'm going to buy a gift set for my mom or whoever, I want it to come already together in a nice, I don't know, not necessarily a basket, but it's together. It all comes together. It all looks the same. It's branded sort of the same, or it isn't, but it's got the right look and feel that it looks like a gift set. So that's definitely, that's great. And that's good information for anybody who's kind of listening, who's maybe thinking about using the virtual bundle. Make sure you understand kind of some of the pros and cons of it. I mean, it might be different. Like when I was selling iPhone parts, right? If I sold a screen and somebody wanted a toolkit, but it could arrive different times. Maybe they get the screen and they don't have the toolkit to put it in. So absolutely, that could be a problem.
And I think that the same thing, like my son works on cars a lot. And so sometimes he's adding multiple things to the car and he's waiting to get all the parts to fix it. And one of them comes as, the one day, and then 2 days later, something else comes. It's like, I can't put this on without that. And so the actual bundling ahead of time, yes, it's more work. I've had people come to me and say, this just seems like a lot of work to be able to do on your end. But let me tell you this. It's a lot. It's more work up front initially, as you know, you're ordering from different places and you're actually having to physically, you or your prep center or somewhere else, actually physically putting them together in your own packaging, which you can always outsource. But the reality is that you're creating that user experience at the end. And it's also what I consider poor man's private label. So you're not actually going to the lengths of having to order, 10,000 units of a product that you're inventing or creating or tweaking along the lines, and all of the details of that, and importing. And we all know how long that takes and how expensive that can be, to where you're already taking products that are manufactured by wholesalers already ready to order. You can order as little as $300 usually in some wholesalers. And so you don't have to spend as much time. You can test things a lot smaller than you're thinking you're going to make this product and import it, and you're kind of going all in on it. You can do a lot more testing and see what the customers want and what they don't want. But what you're creating for yourself is you're competition proofing your own listings, your own brand, your own things, because you're not just taking a wholesale product and listing it for sale on Amazon and shipping it directly from China to FBA and hoping no one undercuts you, or having price wars. You're creating your actual own listing and your own branded product, even though you're using some other wholesale items in there. And it's setting you apart from the competition because you actually do have your own branded item, but you're not going to the lengths and the expense of creating that product, maybe even trademarking, copywriting, all those different things in order to bring the product to the marketplace. So it's faster. It still eliminates a lot of competition, because if it's your brand, no one else can jump on your listing and hijack it, because it's all things that you've put together yourself.
Have you found that the margins are better when you're doing bundling like this?
100% better. I love, people are blown away at some of the margins that I have on my products, because it also creates, the customer is always at the center of everything. No matter what product you're creating, whether it's a bundle or a single unit item or whatever else, you have to think about the customer and what they want and what they're going to, the end user experience. And I think that when it comes to margins, a little goes a long way. So if you spend an extra 50 cents on a nice box that you're putting these, wholesale items in, you're not, it's one fee. Of course, with Amazon, it's one fee for one bundle, as opposed to selling 3 different things individually, and then both of the fees and all the logistics and all the things that go into all of that. And so it's also that value, perceived value that you're creating. When someone looks at something and goes, wow, I'm getting this gift set of 5 of these things for, I don't know, like $49.99, as opposed to adding them all individually, them coming in individual boxes, all that kind of stuff. You're reducing so many touch points for your customer that they're happy to pay a little bit extra to have that bundle just arrive at their door of things that they're already planning on purchasing anyway.
Have you found that there's certain categories that seem to work better for bundling than others, especially, let's say, on Amazon?
I have a love-hate relationship with that question. The reality is that it takes a bit of creativity, but without overthinking. So when it comes to that, I would say my personal favorite category is either going to be like the home and kitchen, home decor kind of thing, just because that's what I'm used to. But then I have a client who deals in only auto parts, and he sells these kits that he personally puts together after years of being a mechanic. It's like, this is everything somebody needs to put like new brakes on, or to change the oil, or to, all those different things. And he's killing it in that area. So it just really depends on the actual bundle itself and what you're putting in it, that you're going to create variety or convenience for your customer. That is really the key. I mean, category, sky's the limit. I do like love-hate relationship again with like the grocery category, because everybody loves things that are replenishable and that people have to buy over and over. Consumables, of course. Yeah. The problem with that is that the expiration dates, and Amazon doesn't practice that first in, first out. So if you don't wait to sell out, they could be selling stuff that's about ready to expire, or, that sort of thing. So I stay away from grocery now, but there's a lot of natural bundles that go together within grocery. If you can stay on top of the inventory management and the expiration dates, then the sky is the limit when it comes to grocery, because those are things that people fall in love with. They will buy over and over because they get used up. So it's just a matter of your own level of knowledge and your knowledge bank of what categories you're comfortable with, and putting together bundles that that makes sense. We always talk about the who, what, when, where, why, and how of that bundle. And if you can nail that, sales are just going to fly.
Yeah. I mean, just off the top of my head, I was kind of thinking like, anybody who's in the supplement area, what they should be looking at is looking at their own Amazon page and see what's other people are buying. And maybe it's a supplement that they're not selling yet, and maybe they should. So they just got another product. And then B, I mean, we've all seen it in these stores. You go in there and there's like a 2-pack of 2 different items, and I can't come up with anything specific, but let's say it's one vitamin and you're like, oh, I was going to buy that second one. And they're kind of like, what's the right word? Sort of wrapped together, right? Like a plastic wrap that holds them as a 2-pack, but they're 2 separate things. I mean, that's a quick example of a supplement bundle you could do. That's not a multi-pack.
Well, right, and pairing it by category. Supplements we kind of got to be careful with, so I'm hoping everybody kind of knows the rules of that. But like the idea is still the same. Like if somebody has a specific ailment, a specific, they're having trouble sleeping, and so you can pair something like melatonin with chamomile, something like that is both sleep related type supplements, and you could call it your, sleep relief bundle or the supplement bundle, and then you've got those 2 little things. So those are the types of things that you can put together that make it convenient. If someone's already looking for a sleep aid and they find your bundle as this like sleep aid, supplement, relief, whatever that you call it, then that person's like, oh, well, this comes with 2 different options, and it's a very similar price or just a little bit more, but people feel like they're getting more when they have a bundle. And that's all about the psychology of like perceived value. Is it even if the price is a little bit higher, people are like, well, I'm willing to pay a little bit more because I'm getting more. And so that's how you can really increase your margins when it comes to bundles, because you can even add, like I said, one of those 50-cent boxes that makes it look fabulous. Only people think, oh, wow, and this comes in this nice gift box and everything else, when really your cost of goods was only 50 cents. And in their mind, that adds $5 to $10 of value. So the sky is really the limit when you can bundle things together like that to make the customer feel like they're getting a better deal. And it just only increases your own bottom line.
Yeah. And before we jump into wholesale bundling, just one more question regarding that. Like when people come to you and they're like, I want to start doing FBA and I want to start doing bundling specifically, but I'm having a hard time finding what to bundle. How do you kind of approach that to help them do some research on what they should start selling and bundling?
Well, it's in the framework. This is my framework, my research framework, as far as the wholesale bundling. It's a whole research process, and there's this 12-step research process that we talk about, and even talks about finding or discovering a niche that you want to start selling in, and then finding the vendors, and it's a step-by-step process that we go through to be able to even find that. And sometimes that starts in your own store. If you haven't sold anything yet, there's still a place for you to start. But if you've already been selling for a while and you're thinking, hey, this bundling thing really sounds like a great idea, you can start with the best seller that's in your store and walk through the research process with that item, knowing what you can bundle with it. I mean, we talk about in the framework, the trend analysis, the specific bundle ideas you can find, idea validation, and how you know whether or not this item is going to sell well with this other item, and then picking your actual components. There's always, there's some numbers and some sweet spots where, some people think, oh my gosh, I have to bundle 10 items together, when really the sweet spot is like 3 to 5 items total. And that's for a lot of reasons, but like really, there's a guy that does only fishing equipment, and he does like kids fishing kits where he does fishing poles and little tackle for certain, boys and girls, and, different things. And then he has more advanced ones to where there's fly fishing and there's bass fishing, and he's putting all these different things together. And I think that was absolutely brilliant, because there's just so many product opportunities. But if you're looking for, hey, bass fishing set, and then you can go to his store and look at these things, and it's kind of a one-stop shop, and it really helps the customer. So when you're thinking about what you can bundle, you can start, if you're starting from nothing, you're like, I'm not creative, I don't know how to create all this stuff. Amazon gives you a little bit of a hint when it comes to that frequently bought together, but that's not always, a tried and true. I've seen cereal boxes being purchase with toilet paper. So, you know, that's just not a bundle match made in heaven. It's got to fit that who, what, when, where, why, how, and has to have that reason. If you can say, yes, this is really a good match because, you know, just because things are in the kitchen doesn't mean you want to sell all the things in the kitchen together. So you really have to do a little bit of thinking. But once you do that and you match up the keywords within the research process, then you will get a definitive yes or no when you're following, you know, the research process to figure out, is this bundleable? That's like this word I've created. I don't even know if that's a real word, but is it bundleable or not? Because some things are. I mean, people say, can you bundle a vacuum? You know, because people are always trying to trick me, right? You can't bundle everything. I'm like, can you bundle a vacuum? Well, sure you can. You can bundle a vacuum with a whole set of brand new filters, because every vacuum now comes with 4 or 5 different filters you have to change. I mean, who made that anyways? Like, we have to have a conversation with the people that make you change 5 or 6 different filters. So you actually can bundle just about everything. It just has to go together. It has to make sense in the sense of purchasing what you're purchasing and how the customer will use it or what they will do with it.
Heck, I was even thinking that if you know, when you go to buy a vacuum, if you don't already have a broom, because a lot of times you got to sweep things up before you can vacuum them. And I'm not talking, you know, like hardwood floors is more what I'm referring to. So, and then anybody who's listening, if you didn't understand her reference regarding the fishing, stay out of the fishing area, because she hit it on the head. I've been fishing since I was a kid. Bass fishing is completely different than fly fishing. I've done all of them. I've done both of them. And especially that it was great, that person you said got in the whole niche of being in the kid starter set. And that's a great way to get started. So let's jump into the wholesale bundling, bundles, so to speak. And tell us more about wholesale bundles and how it works and kind of how it differs from the Amazon sort of world.
So when you're doing wholesale bundling, it's basically the same concept we've been talking about the whole time with bundling, except for you're purchasing products from wholesale vendors all over the world or stateside or wherever you are that are already products that are already being produced. So you don't have to go to the length of, well, I have to find a product, create my own version of it, tweak it, make a brand, all these different things. Although there is some branding involved later on. You don't have to start with branding necessarily. But the idea here is you're creating a bundle brand. But going back to the wholesale, it's the buying products in niches or wherever it is that you're trying to sell. Like, let's go back to fishing for a second. So if you want to do some wholesale bundling and you say, I know a lot about fishing and I'm going to go in this area, you find wholesale vendors that sell fishing supplies, get the catalog, sign up for accounts, and then you start looking at making bundles from there. So you're not having to create new fishing lures and new storage things and new poles and new reels and all. You're buying that from wholesale distributors and you're going to package it together as a bundle, as a gift set, as a starter pack, as a kit, whatever you want to call it. And you're just, so you don't have to, you're just buying pre-existing wholesale items and bundling them together as far as that's really as simple as it is. There's no external explanation for all of that. And yes, you would have to, either you or someone else, put those together in your own packaging, whether it's branded or not. You have to kind of not repackage it, but package it together, whether it's in a gift basket or a box or a bag or anything else, in order to ship it to Amazon. So that's basically wholesale bundling in a nutshell.
So with the bundling you've been doing and the products you've been selling as bundles on Amazon, have you also transitioned some of that off of Amazon, like onto your own website or eBay or, you know, Shopify or anything like that?
Some of them, yes. And we've tried eBay crossovers. We've definitely done some Facebook Marketplace. I mean, I don't shy away from multiple income streams. So if it's on Amazon, there's a lot of software and tools and outsourcing that you can do to kind of put your products in multiple channels. I mean, if you've got the bandwidth for that, or you've got the way to hire that out or do it all yourself for some reason, then, you know, why not? But the reality is depends on what you sell. If you have a specific, you know, niche website and you can, you know, start putting content on there and start doing that, you know, 9 out of 10 people tend to go to Amazon first to buy whatever they're buying. So having it be on Amazon, it's great. But I think that eventually, if you really find a niche that you are just dialed into. Maybe it's a hobby that turned into a business and now you're selling products, and it's easy for you to maybe write content or put those things on a Shopify store. By all means, do that, because eventually you can be the go-to guy, say for, new fishing equipment or new fishing stuff. And, you could turn it into an entire, empire if you want to. But starting, if you already have an Amazon store and you're putting stuff there, sure. I think, my sales channel on Amazon is definitely the best and fastest moving. But we've done some other channels as well by just kind of interconnecting what we've already got on Amazon.
That's awesome. Wow. That is a lot of great information. And so when people when they come to you to kind of get started on this and they're like, hey, I've never sold online, I'm really new, but I want to get going. Is there kind of a first thing, like, do you recommend the wholesale first, or maybe, what do you recommend usually when people come to you and ask that question?
So I have a really inexpensive beginner's course for Amazon. If people don't know, they're like, okay, I've heard about Amazon. You're stuck at home, quarantine, whatever, you lost your job, or you're saying, I don't want to go back to the office. You want to start on Amazon. I think learning the basics and the actual just mechanics and fundamentals of setting up your Amazon store and getting started on that. It's startfbatoday.com. You can check that out and get that. It's just basically the logistics, setting up your account, making sure you have all your verification. I mean, Amazon is crazy about verifying people's, identities and things like that. Setting up your account, learning how the shipping process works. And I actually suggest people use books around their house or, very inexpensive things to start their Amazon account first, so that they can make those kind of newbie mistakes without spending tens of thousands of dollars on inventory first and then going, oh shoot, I kind of don't know how to send this to Amazon. So I recommend that first, but as soon as you understand the process and you understand how it works and understand the lingo and everything else, then I suggest people move into wholesale and wholesale bundling as soon as possible. What I don't like is when people think that they have to start and learn, a whole new system first, and then they can move on to more advanced strategies. I feel like just learn it all right away, instead of thinking, a lot of people start with retail arbitrage, which is where I started years ago. And, I slowly moved into wholesale because I realized that business model just wasn't scalable. I got to a point where I basically had to shop 10 hours a day, 5 days a week just to fill my store. And I thought, this is not scalable to the level I wanted it to be. And so moving into wholesale, and then wholesale, I realized right away when we started wholesale that the margins were super thin and you had to sell tons and tons of volume to get to the margins that we wanted. We were like, we want bigger margins to this. This doesn't make sense. And we were racing to the bottom with other people selling the same wholesale items. I thought, how can we do something different on Amazon to kind of work smarter and not harder? And so, we started bundling and thinking we can increase our margins if we sell this $3 item with this $10 item with this $5 item, and then, make it a little bit more, because you might be making $2 on this, but then $5 on this. So mathematically, it just made sense to make a bundle. And when we started doing that, we just saw margins increase, and we saw so many changes going on that we kind of, jumped into that a lot sooner and faster than any other thing.
Yeah. Wow. That's great. And why don't you tell us, when did you personally get started selling online or eBay, and kind of what brought about that whole thing of, hey, I want to start selling online?
So I was married pretty young. My husband and I, he's a little bit older than me, but we got married right out of high school, and we've been together ever since, and that was great. But we were also young and broke, and had a baby shortly after, like about a year or so after we were married. We had our first child, and so being able to stay at home with him, and we were kind of working opposite shifts, and we were like shifts passing in the night because income was mandatory. And so he's in commercial construction, and I was at home with the baby going, what am I going to do to make some cash? Because I was a waitress and I was in college and taking college classes too, but they kind of, I always say I'm like a college dropout, or they kind of kicked me out because I wouldn't declare a major, because I had all these classes already done, and then they're like, you kind of have to major in something. I'm like, there's nothing here for me. I don't know what I'm going to do. And so I ended up finding eBay when my second child was born. I was always buying stuff on eBay back then, way back then, 2003. I feel like ancient when it comes to that. And then I sold my first item on eBay after buying from them for a while, and I just was kind of hooked. And I thought, oh my gosh, like I can buy an Easter dress or Christmas dress or something for my daughter, and then she can wear it once and it's still almost brand new, and I can sell it on eBay almost for the same price I paid for it. And I just thought that that was amazing. And I was kind of hooked on that treasure hunting ever since. And so I went from selling my kids toys and clothes to yard selling and thrifting and learning more things about what I could flip on eBay. And then I started with what at the time I didn't realize it was called retail arbitrage, but I was going to dollar stores and finding like name brand things and flipping those on eBay. And then I just kind of grew it from there. And then 2008 is when I discovered Amazon FBA and how they were allowing you to ship things into Amazon and they would ship it to the customer for you. And that opened up a whole new world for me. So I'm still on eBay. That's more of my guilty pleasure hobby kind of a thing. And then Amazon is really my full-time business.
Wow. Wow. And so how did the whole process come about with mommyincome.com? What got you started on that, and talk more about what you offer on there?
So Mommy Income started because I just started, people would always ask me, are you still doing that eBay thing? Are you still selling on Amazon and all this stuff? And I would, we were, doing pretty well, and I was letting people know, and I just couldn't stop talking about it because it was just, it's just my thing. I love flipping stuff and different things like that. And so everyone kept asking me, friends, family, other people, can you teach me how to do that? How you do that? I'm thinking, well, yeah, but I don't know. I had to think about it because I thought I can't do that for every single person every single time. And so Facebook groups were kind of a new thing. It was like 2012, 2013, and Facebook started to become a really big thing. And then, Facebook groups. So I joined a few Amazon Facebook groups and was invited to do like a live interview webinar because I'd been sharing my Amazon tips and stuff just within these groups. And I did my first live interview kind of with another channel, and I absolutely love that. And people were saying, can you have her on again? Like, we have more questions and we have this and that. So decided to start my own group and my own kind of channel. And I've been doing pretty much a weekly webinar, either live or recorded, since then. 2014 is actually when I started Mommy Income. So it's been quite a while now.
That's great. So let's also talk a little bit about, tell us more about Amazon Files Hub, I think you have, and kind of explain what that is.
So the Amazon Files is the name of my podcast. I've been podcasting there for quite a while now. So to talk all things Amazon, a little bit of business motivation, a little bit of entrepreneurial stuff that you just kind of need to know. It's not all about how to Amazon. A lot of it's that mental game that we have to be on top of. And so there's that. And then the Amazon Files Hub is the membership group that I run with advanced training and advanced group coaching calls for those wholesale bundlers who want to just become more advanced and grow their stores. And we have everything in there for different things like, every month we do a new training, and it's member based. So the members are like, oh, we want to learn about this. And so I either bring in a guest expert or I create training for those that want to keep moving and growing in the wholesale bundle realm of their business. So it's really been a fun experience to be able to work with people in that way.
So obviously everything we've talked about is all about bundling. Kristin, it's called the Bundling Queen. And it's absolutely true. She is absolutely amazing at the different bundling stuff. Where do you kind of feel the next steps are going for like the sort of bundling, either the wholesale or the Amazon? Like, where do you see it going? More people maybe doing bundling offline, or just keep going with the Amazon?
Well, I've seen a lot of clients, like what you talked about earlier about selling on different channels, that I think a lot of people maybe start with bundling on Amazon, and then they realize that, hey, this is actually a big thing, and I could maybe even have my own website that talks about these different products and have a little bit of content, and then having it be more than just, okay, here's my Amazon products, but maybe they start creating income because they're doing some YouTube videos, or they have a blog that they have now, affiliates and things like that. So it just really depends on what you're doing. I think a lot of people, if you're going to get into bundling, having that mentality that you're not just like a widget-based seller anymore. It's not just about, let me see the data, let me see if this is going to make me ROI or not, but they're actually really considering the customer and considering who they're selling to, and then refining and creating products based on a specific customer base. Because if you're trying to sell everything to everyone all the time, you're not always going to carve out that space and time. Eventually you might run yourself out of business there because different things. So eventually looking towards trademarking your brand and getting brand registry and really kind of honing in on a specific niche that you want to focus on, I think gives you more opportunity to expand beyond just Amazon and going into either your own store or kind of a copy paste type store where you have it on Amazon, but you're also on Etsy, but you're also on your own Shopify store and things like that. I think always being, it's all about your goals too. It's like, do you just want to sell stuff on Amazon so you can have that income coming in? Or do you really want to create an empire, a big brand, a well-known niche? You want to be, do you want to be the guy that's known for, this or that? Or do you just want to be, an Amazon widget seller, which either one is fine. You just have to decide what you want before you decide the direction you're going in.
That's 100% true and a great statement. So why don't you let everybody know how they get a hold of you, if they're interested in trying out your course, give them some information so they know more about this.
So you can find everything I do, mommyincome.com. All of my social handles are all Mommy Income, the Mommy Income YouTube channel. There's lots and lots of free stuff on there. The Amazon Files podcast is on all your favorite podcast channels. So make sure you subscribe and check that out. And you can find me on all the social and mommyincome.com. The wholesale bundles system that comes, with the signature framework that I have here is mommyincome.com/system. And you can learn all about what that entails at mommyincome.com/system.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for being on the Ecom Wiz podcast. I really appreciate it. And we'll definitely have to get you back on again. And we'll maybe try to go over some more live examples, or not live example, actual examples. But that was really great. So thank you so much for being on with us.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And for more information, please visit feedbackwiz.com.